A few weeks ago on Facebook, I asked if anyone had any finance questions they wanted me to answer, and I got some really great responses. Hi, I'm Phil Thompson. Thanks for joining me for Phil's Finance Fix. Today's question is from David Mathieson, and he asked a really great question. What do you think the property market is going to do over the next 5 years? Great question, David, and I'm sure plenty of people are asking the same thing. First up, I'll start with the saying, those who have knowledge don't predict, and those who predict don't have knowledge. So as you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of making predictions of where property market is going over the next 5 years, and I will explain why. But I will start with saying that property, the best and worst thing about buying property is it is an emotional purchase for both the buyer and the seller, and you're only dealing with two parties. And this means that the property valuation can be vastly different to what the market says it's going to be. For example, this can be great for a buyer, as the market value may be high, but if you've got a seller who is motivated and wants to sell because they're either settling on another property or it's been on the market for a while and they just want to get rid of it, then you can underpay what the market says it's going to be worth. And on the alternative, for a seller, the market may say your house is valued at $500,000, but you may have a buyer who could overpay by $100,000 for a whole variety of reasons. Now to explain why I don't like predictions, because we can't do anything to change how the market's going to perform. Sure, when we make a purchase, if the market goes up over the next few months, then yeah, sure, our investment's done really well. But it's exactly that, only changes after we make the purchase. So when you're making a purchase, you're never going to know if it's a good investment or if it's not a good investment. The other reason I don't like property predictions is because if you type into Google, where do you think the market's going to go over the next 5 years, you'll get two different answers. One either saying that we're in a property bubble and it's going to burst, or the other one saying that property prices are going to continue to rise year after year. And they both seem to bring out some fancy graphs explaining why they're right. However, the number one reason I don't like predictions is because there are so many other things that you can do to improve your personal finances that aren't determined on the market. And that makes getting into buying a property as an investment or as a home easier with less risk and quicker. Such things as increasing your savings, so you've got a bigger deposit before you buy and you don't need to borrow as much. Or buying in the suburb just one further out from where you're wanting to live, so it's a bit cheaper. And I'd encourage you to not look at what you think's going to happen in the market to determine whether to put off buying an investment property because you think the property is going to drop, or to jump into the property market before you're really ready because you think you might miss the train. If you are planning on purchasing a property, you should be looking at it as a long-term purchase. So even if the property market drops 15% the day after you purchase, it would be a kick in the guts, but it shouldn't have a material impact on your purchase because it's a long-term investment. Thanks heaps for David for asking the question, and sorry I didn't give you a proper prediction, but I strongly believe that you have such a greater impact on your financial success than any markets do. And if you do have any other questions, please feel free to ask and put it in the comments below. Thanks heaps for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bing! Diggy diggy dee! Good job.